are live. So last week I kind of waited, and then I rewatched it and it got all of it. So I really don't know what's going on with YouTube, but I think we're live. So it is Monday, March 27th, 2023. This is episode number 10. We've hit double digits, boys. Who would have thought? Especially after the 11-month hiatus that we took. We are reaching double digits, so that's fun. And I think this time we're going a little stronger. We'll see, though. Anyway, obviously another crazy weekend of college sports. We saw a lot of big upsets and all that, and they're gone already. That's fine. Good start to the stream. Anyway, yeah, a lot
I just threw my phone across the room.
Okay, that's probably a good call.
Mm-hmm. Nothing even happened.
No, it's for the better.
I was just struggling.
Yeah,
not bad. Anyway, yeah, a lot happened. Not just in basketball, but in hockey as well. I'm sure, Beav, you were probably watching that. Pretty wild weekend. Not necessarily upset-wise, but like score-wise in some of the games.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we might as well jump right into that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got our Frozen Four. It's Minnesota, Boston, Michigan, and Quinnipiac.
Mm-hmm.
Three of the top three seeds, of course, the fourth being Denver, got out in the first round. But there were some massive blowouts. I don't know if you guys watch any of the games, but
I caught a few. I caught the end of Michigan Penn State. That was great. That was like, probably the best game of the weekend. That one went to overtime. Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, I feel like this is about as good of a Frozen Four as the NCAA could want. I mean, you have Minnesota BU in one game. That's a classic matchup, and then Michigan too.
Yeah,
being in there. Ideally, personally, I would love a Michigan and Minnesota national championship.
Big Ten action,
of course. Yes. And speaking of the Big Ten, there was a stat here. Speaking of the blowouts in the first round, the Big Ten outscored their opponents in the first round 36-4.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
And how
Minnesota,
many teams? That 4?
Yes, Minnesota won 9-2. Ohio State won 8-1. Penn State won 8-0, and Michigan won 11-1.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it was a great showing from the Big Ten, and maybe it's just a little selfish too, because the Big Ten championship game was Michigan Minnesota as well, and that was quite an entertaining game. I'm sure you guys have seen the clip. There was a clip that went viral for a pretty gross goal that happened in that championship game as well.
Yeah.
So a rematch would be nice, but whatever happens, I think college hockey wins here. I think it's a great final Frozen Four here.
Yeah, a little different than the men's basketball Final Four. With
pretty chalk for hockey, but yeah.
But that's good to have sometimes because you're going to get some really good games with some really good teams. Anything else from? I mean,
not really. I mean, Frozen Four. They take over a week break here. They don't want to conflict with the Final Four, so that won't be in action until early April, the week after the Final Four. So we can talk about that next week as well if you want.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll need something to talk about next week other than just recapping stuff. So that's perfect. All right. Then we've got Southern Miss Baseball, 2-2 again. They have gone 6-6 since the wheel picked them. 2-2 every single week. Usually, I think what's been happening is they've lost their week game all 3 weeks, maybe, and then taken 2 out of 3 in each series on the weekend. They should have swept.
If they're taking 2 out of 3 every weekend, that's okay.
Right, because that's their conference.
Yeah, if you're taking 2 of 3 in conference, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so they played
6 is the definition of mid right now. So
yeah, they played Georgia Southern this past week or weekend, and they had a doubleheader Saturday. And I looked because I was like, I'll see how they're doing. And it was the 9th inning. They were up by 1. I was like, nice, they're gonna win. They gave up 3 runs, blew that game, lost 10-8. 3 runs in the 9th. That was so. They didn't quite get the sweep. It is what it is. I mean, they're still doing okay. They're hanging in there. They play Ole Miss tomorrow. That would be awesome if they could actually get a win during the week. But obviously not super likely that'll happen. We'll see. Ole Miss obviously is very good at baseball right now. They won the title last year, so
would definitely help my confidence with this team. If they
yeah,
could
yeah,
at least have a
100%.
game with Ole Miss here. Just show me that they can hang with the big
Yeah,
boys, you know? Yeah.
absolutely. So we'll keep an eye on that one tomorrow. Yeah, anything else outside of basketball that we want to discuss quickly? I don't know if any other sports of note are going on. I don't know
Not
if
really.
gymnastics is happening. Otherwise, spring sports, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like anything that pertains to this podcast a whole lot. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk basketball. I think we should start with the men's tournament just because that's kind of the main topic. Then we can get into the women's and maybe a little bit of the NIT, which, by the way, rocking the title town. Badgers 2 wins away from the big NIT title, but we'll get into that. More upsets in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And usually I feel like this is where they dip off and it's like the underdogs go away and it's like, okay, top dogs rise. That was not the case this year. Obviously, there weren't really any like super teams in college basketball this year, which was nice, but it still looked like a team like Alabama or maybe Houston was going to make a run to the Final Four just because they are good teams. But nope, we're getting, we got Justin in the live chat. Welcome. Anyway, yeah, that didn't happen. And now our Final Four is sitting at UConn, which was a team that makes sense that they're there. Outside of that, San Diego State. Oh, boy, here we go again. San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, and Miami, which are 3 teams no one expected. Should we just break down the games, starting with the Sweet 16?
That works.
All right. Well, we can talk. Let's talk about the big one, which was Alabama, San Diego State.
Justin's already rooting for UConn.
Yeah. Yep, he is. I see that. Well, he'll win our pool if UConn wins it all. So
yeah, so go Miami.
He needs him to win it all, though, because if UConn doesn't, Grandma, watch out for Grandma.
But she's a UConn fan because she's from Connecticut, so it's like she's kind of in a tough spot. As Justin is now apparently taking them as his hometown team, even though
he lives in Connecticut when it's convenient for himself.
Yeah. Pretty sure last time I talked to him, he explicitly said how he didn't live in Connecticut, but
no, notorious Hartford, Connecticut resident. Justin.
Anyway.
All right. Anyway, we'll start with Bama, San Diego State. Bama had a lead in that game for a while. San Diego State hung in there and then overtook them midway through the second half. And I was watching it at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I said, I'm not going to be nervous till there's 2 minutes left. They're down by more than 5. And it got to that point. Then Alabama started to make a comeback. I'm like, see, this is why I'm not nervous. Not because I'm a Bama fan, actually. I would have rather had San Diego State just because of my bracket. Anyway, San Diego State pulled off the upset. They looked very good. They stayed strong. They did what I think probably not a lot of people thought they could do, and that was hang on against a team like Alabama. It was a good game. It wasn't like crazy high scoring or anything, but at least for like Alabama. But it was credit to San Diego State. They played well and they played tough.
Yeah. Well, Brandon Miller just didn't show up.
Yeah, he did that a couple times this tournament, which might be concerning for his draft stock. I don't know, especially with now you like start to like compile that with what happened off the court in January. It's like, I don't know, man, because it was like he was so dominant that it was hard. It was easy to overlook what happened. Now it's like, I don't know. We'll see where he ends up falling in the draft. But he's got to show up big in the big moments, and he didn't do that.
I wasn't gonna pick them to win it all just because they live and die by the 3.
Yep.
And I fell for it anyway.
Yeah.
They died by the 3. Shot 3 of 27.
That's brutal. And last year it was very easy to pick against them because they didn't have other ways to score. But this year, Brandon Miller can score without just relying on the 3. And then when he doesn't show up, it's what do you do now? And that was the case, obviously, this weekend. And I think half the country seemed like they had Bama winning it all, and we were all kind of fooled. But then again, not many people had this Final Four anyway, so it's it is what it is. But that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it madness. But yeah, that was a good game, honestly. It's exciting. Even if you had Bama and you lost your pool because of the game, but I think that kind of happened to all of us. That was the last thing I had left anyway. So, yeah, that was tough. Then I'm going to jump over to the Houston game because that was happening about the same time.
Mhm.
Houston, Miami. And again, it was the same kind of thing where it was okay, Houston's going to come back because although in this game they were trailing longer than Bama was, but it was okay, Houston came back against Auburn after being down at 10 at half or whatever. It's all right, they'll come back. But Miami just ran away with that thing. They totally looked better. They looked like they were the better team. It's sometimes these upsets, it's oh, they got away with one. Miami just dominated them. I don't know what you guys, if you had any different thoughts, but it just seemed like they were the better team.
Well, I thought kind of similar. Houston would just eventually make a run, and they did cut it to a close game. But every time they cut it close, Miami just kind of went on a run of its own.
Yeah.
Houston cut it to 2 with I don't know, about 15 to play, and then it never was close after that.
Right.
So it was just kind of Miami answering after. They answered after every run that Houston made and kind of made it tough on Houston. So,
yeah. Justin, sorry, for those at home, Justin is talking about DMing the Cavender twins for a date. Justin, is that both Cavender twins that you're trying to date or at the same time? You'll have to let us know. That's interesting. But yeah, I mean, credit Miami. They stepped up when they needed to in that game. Yeah. Okay. We'll stay within that region. Texas Xavier. Trying to remember that game. No, both, and he's not going to share. All right. Well, good luck with that one because one of them is in a 7-year relationship. So you got that, Justin. Anyway, yeah, Texas Xavier. I want to say Longhorns kind of cruised in that one. I'm trying to remember it. I think they ended up winning decently.
They won by 12. I didn't really catch many of the Friday games, but
they
won by 12.
If I remember correctly, that it seemed for most of the game that Texas had.
They were up 40. They were up 42-25 at halftime.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was I know because I was at, like I said, I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I know I was watching it, but I think it just never really seemed to pique my interest. I think I was paying more attention, honestly, to Iowa women's basketball that was on that night because that game was so good. I think they were playing Colorado that night. Anyway, not really much to talk about. Texas rolled there.
Yeah, they were up 20 most of the second half.
Okay, yeah. Then we'll talk, I guess, Creighton, Princeton. Princeton hung in for a while. They gave a good fight, but in the end, like most Cinderella teams that are a 15, it just kind of became too much. Creighton is a really good basketball team, and they hung in tight, and eventually Creighton just pulled away there in the second half. And I think Princeton battled pretty long in that one, but Creighton obviously got the win. Anything to note in that? I mean, those feel like weren't as crazy as some of the other games in the weekend. But you guys
like
got
you
it?
said, I feel like with those like 15 seeds, the high seeds, eventually they just kind of burn out.
Yeah,
Seems
yeah,
like,
but
they just
great
burn
run
out.
for Princeton. They were good. They had a nice tournament, and I think when you go out in the Sweet 16, it's a win if you're a 15 seed. Like, who cares at that point? It was like
just to make the second weekend.
Yeah, that was awesome for them, and heads held high. All right, should we talk? Do you guys want to talk Elite Eight in those regions, or should we jump down?
Stay with the Sweet 16 for now.
Okay. So then we could talk. Should we talk, Justin? Should we talk Michigan State, Kansas State?
Was this the best game of the tournament?
It was a great one. Obviously, an overtime thriller. Our guy Justin, Michigan State fan, he's in the chat right now, probably was devastated after that. We also saw maybe one of the best individual performances. That was a BS ending. Well, I wouldn't say that.
You let a 5'8" guy have 19 assists on you.
Yeah. But cried myself to sleep like every night. Poor guy. Yeah, I mean, that was a great game. What did it end up being, like 96 to
98-93?
98-93. Okay. I mean, that was an awesome game. Kansas State was so much fun to watch this weekend. Obviously, we'll talk about their game against Florida Atlantic, but Marquise Noel is a beast. I mean, Beav, you said it, 19 assists. His passes were unreal. It was like
tournament record.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like if you're on his team, you just have to expect him to like make a crazy pass because he does some like unreal passing. Like, I don't understand some of those passes he made, how he did it. It was awesome. Probably not awesome for everyone if you're a Michigan State fan, but it was spectacular to watch. But that was a great game. I mean, Michigan State battled. Obviously went to overtime, but Kansas State, they were on one in that game, and it was a very fun game. But yeah, you guys got anything else? I mean, like you said, kind of the game of the tournament, maybe.
He had 5 steals too. So
yeah, that was such an incredible performance. It would have been cool to have a 2020 game, but I mean, you'll take 2019 and 5 steals and just total domination. So
Michigan State had 18 assists as a team. He had 19 by himself.
That's crazy.
Put in perspective.
Very incredible. I mean, even though the game went into overtime, 98 points is a lot. And like it's fun to have those games where it's just so much offense, a lot of excitement, a lot of action, and yeah, that was a fun
They had a game like that earlier this year against Iowa, like in March.
Who was that?
I'm pretty sure they had like a Michigan State. Didn't they have like a 100-100 overtime game against Iowa at one point?
Yeah, because Iowa was down like double digits with like a minute to go. And
yeah, that was that game. Yep. I didn't realize that was against Michigan State. Yeah, that was when Fran McCaffrey had his little stare down, right? Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that game seemed to motivate Iowa for a little bit, and then obviously Iowa just kind of Iowa'd it and ended up bowing out of the tournament early. But yeah, super fun game. Sucks for Michigan State, but at the expense of them, we got to see some awesome basketball. So That at least was good. All right. Then we had.
So what he was saying, Justin, was see you later, bozo.
Wow. Okay. We also in that region had Florida Atlantic and Tennessee. And Florida Atlantic, they had that scare opening round with Memphis, and since that, I think their FDU game was pretty close too. But it's like here they are, and they're in the freaking Final Four out of Conference USA, which has 2 teams left in the NIT. And what's the other tournament? The CBI.
Yeah.
Didn't the Conference USA team win that?
Charlotte won the CBI. Are they Conference USA?
I think so. Well,
Yeah, they are. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Conference USA is showing up in March, but yeah, Florida Atlantic took down Tennessee. I don't know, man. They're a really good team. Like, obviously, 3 losses all year. It was like they had a tough draw with Memphis, so it was like, are they going to get by them? And Memphis looked really good. I think both teams kind of got screwed with that 8-9 matchup, but they've taken the most out of it since then and gone on this great run. They took down Tennessee. I mean, I didn't think Tennessee was like all that special. It's like they seem to choke every year. Honestly, I was shocked they made it to the Sweet 16. But yeah, that was actually their biggest win. I think it was like 7 points, but I think that's their biggest win of the tournament. I can double check that, but I guess FDU they ended up pulling away and winning by 8. But like, yeah, they win that one by 7. Held Tennessee in check. Like defensively, they were really good that game, and yeah, Florida Atlantic's legit, and we'll obviously get to their Elite 8 game with Kansas State, which there's a lot to talk about there. But you guys got anything on that or that game, or just Florida Atlantic in general?
People were saying Tennessee's a dirty team.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean,
there was a video of their center just like checking the guy.
Yeah, that I kind of. I'm not gonna say I get it, but like, yeah, that I wonder if there is something to like losing to a smaller school that like it probably pisses you off a little bit, and then yeah, but I didn't see the video of him checking, but yeah,
I saw it. Yeah,
that's interesting.
But I have seen people saying too that like FAU is one of the more unlikable Cinderellas we've had. Just between the whole dunk at the end of the Fairleigh Dickinson game and then the stealing Kansas State's Little Baby song, that rubbed people the wrong way, I guess.
Yeah,
but like,
I think a lot
personally, I don't mind it that much. I don't really care. But people have been saying it's kind of an unlikable Cinderella.
I've seen that a little bit, and yeah, like I think Kansas State was so likable just because of how exciting they played. At least I enjoyed watching them. But yeah, it's tough when you take down teams that people are liking watching. Like I can understand. We'll see. I think now it's like they're playing San Diego State, who, even though they were a 5 seed, it's like again they're coming out of the Mountain West, so it's like 2 conferences that aren't necessarily in the mix a lot. So I have no idea what rooting interest will be, but I assume you're probably right. Like, I think probably more people will be rooting for San Diego State. I don't know if that's true, but I'm just going to guess that. Because I think San Diego State, they kind of deserve to have a run like this. Like, they've been close before. And they've had some good teams. 2020, they were really good. Obviously, that tournament didn't happen, although it kind of did. Idletown Badgers did win according to ESPN's BPI simulation, but yeah, I mean, we'll see, and we'll talk more about that matchup in a little bit. But yeah, okay, we'll move over to the final region, which was we'll start with the blowout game, UConn Arkansas. Those Huskies, man, they are incredible, and I'll tell you. So we talked about my grandma having UConn in the championship, and she told me. Because I called her up to let her know that she won my family bracket. And she goes, I wish I had watched more UConn games before. Because the one game she had watched, because she didn't really start watching any games this year till conference tournaments. But she said, so she had watched the Marquette game, which they lost in a good fight. But she goes, they just don't stop. She goes, I love it. She goes, they get up on these teams. And most teams, they let up. They don't. And it's very true, and it's served them really well because it's impossible to come back on a team that just keeps their foot on the gas pedal, and you have to because we've seen some pretty good comebacks, especially actually this weekend we saw a pretty good one. But anyway, like UConn is tough, and they blew out Arkansas, who had just came off that huge win over Kansas, and they're looking strong right now. I don't know if you guys have. I mean, there's that game. There's really not much to talk about because UConn dominated.
Yeah, they really did. I don't think I saw that game, but
yeah, it was. I mean, from pretty much the get-go, UConn just looked like the better team. And I think they want it more than it seems like they want it almost more than anyone, just because they're just dominating teams right now. But yeah, then the last game I would say might have been the best game. Not the best game, but one of the better
this one
games.
was up there. I mean,
yeah, Gonzaga UCLA came down to the wire, and Gonzaga obviously won. It was a UCLA revenge game, and it didn't end up happening. Obviously, a couple of years ago, in the Final Four, those two teams met, and Gonzaga won on that Jalen Suggs big shot at the end. I think that was in overtime, too. Anyway, this one was good. It was back and forth. I think was that the game that did Gonzaga? No, one of the teams blew a lead, right?
Gonzaga was up 10 with like 2.5 to play.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. And then UCLA took the lead with 50 seconds left. I think it was an 8-point game. UCLA ended up taking the lead.
Yeah, they hit a three with like 13 minutes,
Right.
13 seconds left to go up one.
Yeah. And then when Gonzaga came up, they only needed a two.
Two
They
to
take
tie.
they ran the Chris Jenkins play.
They take that terrible shot, though. And it went in. Then UCLA has a chance. Did they even get a shot off?
They turned it over and had to foul with like a second left.
Yep.
Bee's right, though. It was the same shot that Chris
It was
Jenkins.
the Chris Jenkins play. Did you see the side-by-side? It was like the same.
Oh, I didn't see a side. But
pass,
yeah,
it was like the same turnaround and pass it back to him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, regardless, it was a good finish. Because I had at that point Gonzaga was like my only hope to do anything. I still thought, if Gonzaga loses the championship, and like I needed a bunch of things to happen, but so I was going for Gonzaga in that one, and it was an exciting finish, and yeah. Okay. Justin had an interesting comment there. I don't know what that one was about.
I needed UCLA too, Justin. Don't worry.
But yeah, that was
different pool though.
It was
I
very
had
good
UCLA going all the way Thursday morning, and I changed it to Alabama.
I mean, you were a smart man for a day.
Yeah.
Huh? But it helped because then I had Gonzaga beating UCLA. So I had UCLA
yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. I see what you're. So he filled it out based on players. Okay, I get you. I was very confused when he said.
Oh, see,
He
it
said
makes more
his.
sense when he clarifies it now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to
BYU
talk
football won
about
the national championship a couple years ago, right? Right, Justin? Back when they had Zach Wilson.
Oh man. Well, we'll wait on his response. Okay, so that was the Sweet 16. All right, the Elite Eight then. Should we? I'm trying to think which game to save for. I feel like we should save Creighton, San Diego State for a big BYU football guy. Okay, let's save the San Diego State Creighton because I think that one there is a good bit to talk about. I guess maybe Miami, Texas would be a good one to start with because that game, Miami actually came back. Looked like Texas was going to not necessarily run away with it, but it looked like they were going to win and it was going to be like maybe a 10-point win or so. I think they were up by like 13 was what Miami ended up coming back
They were up
from.
13 with 13 minutes left.
Yeah, and at that point it was like, okay, like Texas is going to the Final Four. And Texas kind of has had these promising teams and hasn't gotten it done. So it was like, wow, did they finally get over the hump? But pure grit from Miami, and they have, like, in this tournament, really impressed me. I thought they were vulnerable to that upset against Drake in the first round, and they have really surprised me, but they had a lot of grit, a lot of fight, ended up coming back, and it felt like even 13's like not a ton, but it felt like it was a really good comeback. And obviously now Miami's in the Final Four, and I think that was the first time in program history that
it was, I believe.
It is.
So, yeah, pretty cool for them. They've kind of been a surprising team in this tournament the last couple of years now. Last year, I think they got to the Elite Eight and lost to Kansas, so they're a good March team. And
Beef said it. Every time he doesn't think about
every time Miami just makes runs, I don't get it. Like not to the Final Four, like you said, it's their first Final Four, but it just seems like I always count them out, and they do well.
Right, and like heck, even in that game, I think a lot of people counted them out once they got down, including myself. I thought the game was over. I'm like, okay, Texas
like you said,
Final Four.
Tons of people counted them out. I don't know what. Not many people had them even making it to the second weekend.
Yeah,
a lot of people counted
had
them out.
Losing immediately, so that tells you. I mean, and that was a tougher region. I mean, Houston was good, Texas was good. They beat both those teams. I still think Texas A&M was good, even though they lost to Penn State in the first round. I thought they could have been good. They obviously weren't, but like Xavier looked pretty good in that region. I wouldn't say Indiana was the best four, but I mean, they still, it wasn't like an easy route, and here they are. So they're still standing, and let's now talk about their opponent, which is going to be UConn. UConn, again, took care of business. They had Gonzaga, and this game wasn't close. And, I mean, again, they've just looked so dominant this tournament. In my bracket, had Gonzaga, but the second I saw these two teams were playing, just the way this tournament's going, it was like, okay, well, UConn's winning. UConn has looked so good. I don't know, like, will they be able to keep this up? Because now you've got three teams that have also been very good this tournament, obviously, that are left. But, I mean, at this point, they are very good. I'm intrigued by their Miami matchup just because Miami has found a way to play up to their opponent's level in the last two games, I mean, and beyond. So I think it will be a good game, but yeah, UConn dominated Gonzaga. It wasn't close. They were the much better team, and Gonzaga falls short once again. I don't know. Like, again, with UConn, not much to say. You guys got anything?
They're just dominant right now, and
Yeah.
I hope Miami can stop them out for financial purposes. But
Yeah. Yeah. We'll find out. Obviously, that's the one thing about having this week off is like now you kind of regroup. It could slow a team like UConn down just because they have this momentum, and now they'll have a week to rebuild it. Who knows how Jitters will play in the Final Four. Also, I forgot to mention this when we talked about, I think it was the Arkansas game, but UConn had players at least 2 players in Ramadan. I think that's what it's called. It's a religious thing where they fast and don't drink water from sunset to sundown. And that was like to not be drinking water during a game. I think they said there were a few players that were doing it. I don't know the exact. I think there were at least 2 for sure. But didn't seem to. I heard you're faster. They call it a fast, but I heard you're faster when you are fasting. Like, but I don't know with no water. Like, I don't know how you can do that. Anyway, yeah, so that's interesting. Trio of Huskies. So there were 3 players. Obviously, Sonogo was one of them, and that's kind of like the big one. I don't know if it said the other 2. Anyway, yeah, Sonogo is the big one that like he's obviously so dominant, and for him to play as well as he did while not drinking water is absurd to me. Anyway, yeah, they're in the Final Four. Anything else to note from there?
No, just they didn't lose a non-conference game this year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they beat Alabama by 15 early in the year.
Yeah, and I heard Dan Hurley talking about how like he just felt like they matched up well against teams out of their conference because he believes like the Big East was just a more physical conference this year, which is there's a lot of truth to that. And I mean that's incredible. Obviously, the beginning of the year they were really good too. So they had like that quieter stretch in the middle of the season where they had lost a few games, but obviously playing well at the right time. Okay, let's talk Kansas State, Florida Atlantic. This was a pretty good game. I think one of the better games in the Elite Eight. I would probably rank this 2. With I think the last one at 1, not because like talent wise, just because it was exciting. I mean, maybe the Miami comeback, but I think with Kansas State, it felt like this one kind of came down to the end. Obviously, again, Noel was so exciting, and then they got in foul trouble, and I think ultimately that was what led to their demise. Florida Atlantic came through. I don't know. I mean, again, Noel had 12 assists, 30 points. I don't know why he didn't take the final shot at the end. It seemed like he probably was made for that moment, but I mean, that was a really good game. And Florida Atlantic, again, finding ways to win. Kansas State hung in there, had a chance at the end, and just couldn't get it done.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Florida Atlantic turned the ball over 22 times. And I think if they do that against San Diego State, they have no shot at winning.
Yeah. And I think with San Diego State, too, it's like, and they've had some really good defensive. I mean, they're a good defensive team. They've had some good defensive games. So it's like you're not going to be able to come back from that just turning the ball over. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Anything else from that game? Otherwise, I think we should talk about the Creighton San Diego State, just because this ending was semi-controversial. I mean, it kind of ended on a foul call. There was a second left. It was tied. Obviously, Creighton got called for a foul. I thought it was definitely a foul. I don't know if you guys thought the same, but he held him on the hip there, and it definitely impacted the shot. And then San Diego State ended up making one of the 2 free throws, which was enough. And then they chuck it. They review that for a second because the ball went out of bounds. Then they called it off, which I thought was also the correct call because the clock did not start when he touched it. But I don't know. Did you guys feel like that was well officiated there, or did you think they should have given something another chance? Because it is tough to see a game end like that.
I mean, it's tough, but I thought it was a foul as well. It's like, if it's a foul, like people are saying that, like, oh, you like swallow your whistle in that situation, but then it's like, are you just picking and choosing when to call fouls?
Right.
Then? Like,
and that's where I'm at. It's like
it sucks to see it end that way, but like if it's a foul, it's a foul.
You can't not call that either, because then it was like it definitely impacted that shot. So that's how I'm feeling too.
Yeah, I thought it was foul. I guess I don't remember how the game was being called. If they were letting stuff go, if they're letting it be physical, I guess I don't really recall. But he has a hand on the hip. He doesn't hit him across the arms, which at first I thought that's what they tried to call. But after review, you see him kind of get his hand and push him on the hip.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I thought there was like 0.2 seconds left when it hit, but I also read something that it didn't start right when it hit the guy's hands. But I also thought it was off Creighton anyway, so
yeah, it was definitely going to be off of Creighton if anything. But yeah, like Jim said, I thought there was 0.2 seconds too until like Jim said, oh, they didn't start the clock right away. Because on the broadcast they said like they pulled out a stopwatch or something to time it. Like, I don't know what that was about, but yeah, I don't think the clock started right away. Jim may be gone.
it is starting to look
Jim
up.
is gone. What do we do?
Well,
we've lost our
Jim
host.
Has succumbed to his Wi-Fi issues. Up next on the list,
I got to go across the room to grab my phone because I had to put it away because Justin's wilding out here.
He has been throughout this as well. Next on the list was the Varsity bracket update. I will say that was on Jim's ESPN account, so Ian and I do not have access to that bracket. I do know that we had. Oh,
he's back.
He is back.
And he's going again.
Nope.
Oh, he moved.
Justin is still. Oh, there he is. I can't hear you, Jim. No, Jim. Oh, no.
No. The audio is no.
I can't hear you.
No, the audio is just not there.
I blame Justin. He probably hacked you.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gone again, Ian.
I mean, we can't screen share here, but we can kind of talk through this bracket pool.
Yeah.
Adam is at the top right now, 40 points above second place.
Yep. Well, my big thing was I would have had I'm out of points now. I would have had I had Texas in the championship, but
correct.
Kind of toast there.
There are only 2 people right now
points remaining.
who can still get some points. That is Jim's grandma. She can get points if UConn beats Miami here. but she had Marquette winning it all, so that's all the points she can get. And then our Justin here.
Some random guy who joined decided.
Oh, I did not see that. Can he still get points? Where is he? Is he lower?
No, I'm talking about Justin.
Oh, and then yeah. So then this bozo here, Jim's back.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi went out. I'm now on a hotspot.
Okay, we transitioned. We panicked and transitioned into looking at the podcast bracket. Standings.
Okay. I can pull it up.
We got through all the games, right?
Yeah, we did. So
beautiful.
Yeah, good job. Good transition. Yeah, sorry, but I knew it was going to happen. It's a shame that it happened, but I felt it coming. Okay, so Adam, you're in the lead, buddy.
Yeah, but no points remaining.
Yeah.
Had Texas in the championship.
Oh,
but, that's all right.
Yeah, that probably would have won it for you.
Yeah, but Texas losing helped me in another bracket, so.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, this one, not a lot on the line. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's obviously going to come down to basically, if UConn wins the next game and loses, my grandma will win. If they win the whole thing, Justin wins, and if they lose, you win. I think that's the only scenario at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
But it is.
So,
depends on how many games UConn wins, pretty much.
Good job to the three of you for all hanging in there. Our podcast bracket's going to end up 5th, so that's pretty cool. I mean, we're all top 10. Beav, you're 6th. I mean, pretty darn good.
I forgot what bracket I put in here. I think I might have had UCLA in the Final Four, and I think that's what might have kicked me.
You had Bama. Oh, in the Final Four?
In the Final Four, I think that's what did me in.
Okay.
Oh, no, I had Gonzaga. Never mind.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
Yeah, and then obviously we kind of talked about it last week. We had us near the top. Bottom looks like Nikki, who made that bracket last minute,
man.
and then friend of the pod, Zan, who had Kansas, so that was unfortunate for him. But I mean, it's a tough year. It's a tough year to predict.
It's a tough year.
But shout out Adam, who currently leads and could end up winning. Otherwise, shout out Justin for being there right now. Yeah, I mean, good stuff, guys.
Shout out Adam. Shout out Grandma.
Yeah. And Justin.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah. It's fun that we got a lot of brackets in this year instead of what did we have, 5 last year? No, we had 6. We had our individuals.
Us 3 plus
podcast, Lucas and Zan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lucas won it last
year. Lucas took it all. He sure did.
And he was going to come on for 2 weeks.
He declined his podcast invitation.
Well, he wanted to, and then he had trivia night.
Unreal.
Yeah. So, whatever, because we had a little beef with him last year, if I recall. But anyway, yeah, it would be great if, no matter who wins, because we said the winner would get a podcast, get to be on. It'd be great if Adam won, because then we wouldn't have to worry about it. Otherwise, Justin, he's coming on in 2 weeks anyway, so it'll be interesting. I don't know if my 93-year-old grandma will be able to figure out how to get on the pod, but maybe I'll do like a video interview or something if she does end up winning. But I don't know. I mean, realistically, and we'll talk about our Final Four. I think UConn's looking pretty good, so there's a great chance that Justin ends up taking it, I think, but who knows? Okay. Guess the next thing we have to talk about is tournament draft, and
is this bad news for me? I didn't look at how we were standing, but am I losing to the field?
No.
Ooh.
Not yet. So there's a 3-way tie for second.
Who does the field have?
Miami.
Oh, of
You have
course.
Florida Atlantic. The field has Miami. You guys in the field all have 15 points. I have 25 with UConn and San Diego State. So I have clinched. But yeah, there's a good chance you guys all end up tied for second.
We can take that.
Yeah,
we can take that.
Yeah, I think that's the ideal scenario for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody loses, and my team's meeting the championship. That would be fantastic for me, especially because my second round pick was Texas A&M, and they lost immediately. So I'll be thrilled if UConn and San Diego. By the way, there's probably a clip, but Beav, you were gonna pick UConn, and
I was going to. I was like,
talked you out.
I was so high on you. Wait, why didn't I?
Because you had already picked like two or three teams.
Oh yeah, because that region. And I was stacking that region. Yeah,
and
I
then
had what? I had Kansas.
You don't want. I'm like, you got to diversify, man, because I really wanted UConn, and Adam had already picked his. Oh
no, I was already in my head. Because I'm pretty sure I had UCLA and Kansas already.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm like, yeah, you already have too much in that region. I was like, you don't want that. And the whole time I'm like, please don't. I need UConn. And
I wanted them back because they were the clear best four seed that you could have drafted.
So I apologize for that, but
it's all right. I was part in my own head too.
So. Yeah. It was strategy, man.
Mm-hmm. I think there was a point where I also wanted to go Gonzaga too, and I was like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah, because I wanted them too, and then I think Adam snagged Gonzaga. Anyway, yeah. So we'll see how that goes, but again, good chance we have a three-way tie there, so that's kind of cool. As long as the field doesn't win, I think we're all good. And they can't win, so.
They can tie for first, right? Is that it?
No, because
how many points do you get for winning it all?
You get 10 total points for winning it all, but I've calculated points already for each round, so it's like a four. It's like 2 more for each win, basically. So they can get 4 more. They can get up to 19 points.
Okay.
I could get, I think, 6 more points. So I could get to 31, and you could get to 19.
That makes sense. I thought it was like you get 10 points for winning the chance.
You do, but I've been doing a running tally. So, yeah.
Makes sense. I know what you're saying.
Okay. We'll talk about our second chance bracket that we filled out last week, which is very bad. Probably not the most surprising that it's bad.
I don't have any regrets with it, though, because we had to stick with our original bracket.
Right.
If we had Alabama winning it all, they were still left. I don't have any regrets picking them to win it all.
So let me
you got to stick with your gut.
Because this is fascinating. Okay. We got UConn's region perfect. 3 for 3. Everything else was a combined 2 for 9, okay? Which is horrible. But because this tournament has been so unpredictable, let me zoom in here. This is our percentile. We are in the 81st percentile, despite getting 5 out of 12 picks and only 1 for the Final Four. So we'll take it. I mean, we are in the 81st percentile somehow. So shout out to us. I mean, yeah, it's been an unpredictable tournament. We might have lost Beav. I don't know if his connection went out.
No, we're back. The phone's just across the room.
Okay.
We're good. Yeah. We're locked.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, we'll take it. 81st percentile. It's been a tough bracket to predict. I assume we'll end up dropping to like 70. I'm sure some people will pass us, but then again, if you have more teams than us left, you're probably in a better percentile than the 81st. So anyway, I don't know. It happens.
I don't know. It was a tough bracket to pick from, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think that's good on the men's tournament. We'll kind of put our picks in for the Final Four in a little bit. But let's talk about the women's tournament. South Carolina is stomping on Maryland right now. There's a couple minutes left in that game. So they're going to punch their ticket to the Final Four. Adam, if your connection goes out, I understand.
I'm good.
Yeah, I know. I just having connection issues, so I didn't know.
You're a bozo. Well, last time I looked, Maryland was down 8.
Yeah, they're down by almost 20 now.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's like 3 minutes left. It's 84-67, so it's 17 with 2:40 to go.
Jesus, he goes in and out, in and out.
Yeah, internet connection, man. Anyway, I mean, we've talked about this. South Carolina, just so good. What I will say, so we'll preview it. Anyway, we still have Ohio State, Virginia Tech tonight, but we'll preview what
Virginia Tech again.
They're 1, Ohio State is 3. But yeah, South Carolina's been so good all year. I mean, I could have told you at the end of last year that they're going to win it all this year. They have 7 seniors. They're one of the deepest teams in the country.
To declare for the WNBA, do you have to be a certain
4 years?
You do?
Okay. Yep. You have to do 4 years. Obviously, some athletes have that extra year because of the COVID eligibility, but you have to do at least 4.
Okay.
And their next year's draft class will be by far the best in WNBA history. So it's extremely stacked. And by the way, the best or maybe second best player in that class didn't play at all this year due to an ACL injury, Paige Beckers, and that will, next year will be crazy. I hope we get a star-studded final. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's quickly run down the tournament. Let me pull up our podcast bracket, which is now starting to fall apart. It was very good. It was like 90 percentile. My personal bracket, fun fact, was in the 100 percentile for a very long time. It ended up stumbling, but I had like a top 100 bracket in the world for a little bit, and then the Elite 8 kind of killed me. But this is where we're at. I mean, again, South Carolina beat UCLA by 16, and it was more dominant than that. UCLA had like 34 points with like 2 minutes left, and then got some garbage time buckets. But South Carolina's defense is stifling. Although this game they've given up 72 now. But again, they're just so good. And then let's see. Oh, the Maryland Notre Dame game was crazy because Maryland got off to the lead. Notre Dame then went on a little run, took the lead. I think Maryland cut it close at half, and then Maryland just flat out dominated the second half. And then obviously we see South Carolina. Ooh, they're only up 11 right now. 55 seconds, a little too late for that run. This region, Louisville dominated Ole Miss. 10 points is the margin, but it felt like it was more than 10 points. Haley Van Lith is a baller. We'll get into that one in a little bit when we talk about the Iowa-Louisville game, which was an awesome game to watch. Caitlin Clark had a masterclass game, but we'll hold off on that for a second, and then we'll get more in depth with some of the players in that. Iowa beat Colorado. Actually, Colorado hung in there for a while. That was a game that I was watching. Like I had said earlier, I found that game more entertaining than the Texas game that night. when they played Xavier. Anyway, Miami beat Villanova. That game was crazy. Miami had a 21-point lead, blew it completely, and Villanova took the lead, and then Miami came through clutch. And obviously, we had Miami in our Final Four, which was a really good pick considering they took out two really good teams and had three really good teams. Anyway, then LSU Utah was a thriller. LSU is a very good team. This game went down to the wire, and yeah, I think it was a 1-point game, and Utah came to the line. I think she airballed the first free throw. It was bad, but yeah. And then LSU ended up getting the ball back, taking it, and winning. But
I saw she airballed the one, then she missed the second one too.
Yep.
It tied the game.
Right, and it looked like she wasn't even trying. They were bad free throws. But anyway, I think one of the biggest topics of this tournament is Angel Reese right here. She's been really good, one of the best players in the country, and we'll get into her game against Miami, which I have an NBA comparison for her. And I'll just say I think she's the Joel Embiid of women's college basketball because she is a free throw merchant. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying she knows how to get foul calls, even if they're not fouls. She is very good at that. She couldn't make a layup to save her life against Miami and yet had double figures and was a huge impact. Although defensively, she was very good. Anyway, Virginia Tech beat Tennessee pretty good. Ohio State beat UConn, which was shocking. First time UConn's missing the tournament since 2007. Or not missing the tournament, missing the Final Four. First time they missed the Elite Eight since I think 2004. That was crazy. They aren't quite the same right now, obviously. Like we said, their best player, Paige Beckers, has been out all year. But still, it's weird to see UConn not make it this far. And then we'll see what happens with Virginia Tech and Ohio State. Should be a good game. Now let's talk the Elite Eight. South Carolina, Maryland, still not over yet. 11-point game, 27 seconds. I think it's safe to say South Carolina.
They got a final on my screen. They won by 11.
Oh, it is? Okay, great. So they're moving on to the Final Four. That shouldn't surprise a single human being on this planet. They are so good. 7 seniors. They're just so deep. They've got other players that are really good. That team is unbelievable. They're going to dominate the WNBA draft this year. I don't know. I haven't looked at a mock or anything recently, but I'm sure they'll have most of the first round will be. Actually, let's take a peek. WNBA mock draft 2023. Let's see what they're saying. Okay. Oh, Aaliyah Boston. There's one. Okay, I guess that's. And then it's they've got just some late mid second and yeah. Seems like they'll dominate second and third round as well. But regardless, they've got the number 1 pick most likely, and then a ton of others spread out after that. But anyway, yeah, they're very good. And they will play Iowa. But let's talk LSU Miami first because that game wasn't super exciting. Honestly, I hate to say it, but it was a bad game. It was a very bad game. I guess we don't really need this anymore. Neither team could make a shot. Oh, I just read what Justin said about 7 minutes ago. Anyway, at least he said respectfully. Do we bonk him for that, though? Yeah, okay. Anyway.
He needs multiple. multiple.
Yeah.
Amari
I mean,
Bailey's
let's
comment.
read his last two chats. He says, "We heart grandma," and then he said that last one that we're not going to say on here.
And then the UCLA national champions
yep.
because of his bracket. Talked
Yep.
about Amari Bailey.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then the
he DM'd the
BYU.
Cavender twins to be his wedding date.
Wow.
It's bonks galore over here.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you. Anyway, we'll see how when he comes on if he brings the same energy with the cameras in his face. But anyway, LSU Miami was not a good game. I will say Miami, it felt like they were kind of against the world, or at least against the NCAA. Not saying people were rooting against them, but it felt like, I mean, there has been an ongoing thing with Miami in the NCAA for years. They had that NIL infraction a few weeks ago involving, yes, the Cavender twins, as Justin mentioned them there. Not in the exact way that I was going to mention them, but but yeah, I mean, like that whole NIL thing where their coach then got suspended. But they have not been officiated well the entire tournament. Seems like the refs have very heavily favored whoever they've played. But yeah, this was a bad game. It was, nobody could make shots for either team, but LSU, I thought, shot like 200 free throws in this game. It felt like every time they had the ball, like they weren't making their shots, but they were getting a ton of free throws. So they won the game handedly. It was not a great game by any means, but I will credit LSU's defense. They were incredible. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else to say about like?
Is
it was
the SEC like a weak conference? And
yeah, I think so.
Because like
LSU,
no,
yeah,
I just looked it up, and like LSU's 32-2. I assume the two
right, and
losses
they
are
were a
both to
3
South
seed.
Carolina, and they're a 3 seed. Like that seems kind of criminal.
Yeah,
No?
so they lost. Who did they lose to in the conference tournament? It was kind of a bad loss.
Oh,
It was like somebody who ended up being like a 5 seed or something. Anyway, and that was like. Anyway, yeah, I don't know exactly. LSU.
they lost to Tennessee.
Oh, okay. That was it. That was
They
it. It was
lost
not
to
a terrible team. That was it.
Their
And
losses are
so,
to Tennessee and South Carolina.
yeah, in South Carolina, obviously, is great. But yeah, the Tennessee loss, I think, kind of hurt them because it was in their conference tournament, so they didn't win the conference tournament title. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was weird too. And Angel Reese is one of the country's best players. But I will say free throw merchant. But she is incredible at rebounding. She is really good at just getting to the bucket. And it was in the Sweet 16. She did the "you're little" to someone after she missed the layup, got her own rebound, and then made it. So I was like, I don't know if you can quite do that there. But yeah, credit to her. She's just very dominant, and defensively, she is incredible too. She made some really good plays against Miami. LSU's defense was good. Now, I will say, let me pull up. So I don't know if you guys know Kim Mulkey, the LSU coach, but let me pull out because this was an interesting topic. It was her Sweet 16 outfit. Did you guys see this?
I did not. I seen a video of the Texas coach's outfit.
Okay,
she goes kind of hard.
This felt a little bit over the top. This was her outfit for the Sweet 16.
No, we don't wear that at a basketball game.
That's what I'm saying. It just felt. She's an incredible coach, but it felt a little too much like she was trying to take attention away. I don't know, from the players. she's an incredible coach, and I have nothing but respect for her. But outfit felt a little bit like she was trying to grab attention, and I will say, like especially when you have like a superstar like Angel Reese, like let it be about the players. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah. LSU in the Final Four. They deserve it. They're a good team. Now I want to talk about, was it last night? Yeah, last night's Iowa-Louisville game, which was probably the best display of college basketball from a team I have ever seen. Iowa, that being obviously. They're headed to the Final Four. Geez, if I can say that word.
One of the best individual performances in history.
Yes. That was incredible. It was, I mean, Caitlin Clark could not miss. Her passes are incredible. I think she's on a similar level. Okay, maybe not like, do I say this? To Marquise. Maybe not quite as good as Marquise Noel passing because he is ridiculous, but like her passes are up there. Like she can thread needles. It was incredible. Her passing, but her shooting too. I mean, it was lights out. Like obviously we knew all year and last year and like her whole career she's been insane. But last night was a for the ages performance. The 40-point triple-double. It was the first ever 30-point triple-double, let alone a 40 in the tournament. And the 40-point hadn't happened for men or women in the NCAA tournament. So that was amazing. And the 10th rebound was questionable because she was at 9, and then they stat corrected randomly to give her 10 with like 30 seconds left.
That's what it was.
I don't
realize all of a sudden she ended up at 10.
Yeah, I didn't see
Adam were following it. Yeah.
I didn't see a 10th, but they gave her one. I don't know where it came from, but I mean, like, it was such a good game that she deserved it. It was funny, though, because she didn't realize they had given her one, and she knew she was a rebound away. So you'd see her, like, I think she purposely turned the ball over with, like, 35 seconds left. Like, I'm pretty sure it was on purpose because she wanted another chance at a rebound. And you could see her, like, one went over the backboard and she caught it out of bounds. She's like, count it. Like, you could see her. It was funny, but Justin with the fact about UConn there. Okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, it was, bless you. It was a great performance. Yeah, credit Caitlin Clark. It was an awesome game to watch. Now, I do want to talk about her supporting cast in that game because I genuinely believe without them, there's a chance Louisville still wins that game, even with the way Caitlin Clark played, because Louisville, other than that third quarter, stayed with them the entire time, but the supporting cast was fantastic. They were hitting threes left and right. It came from a number of different players. Like the whole Iowa team was awesome. And I think that was one of Louisville's better games. Even though they lost double digits and it wasn't that close for most of the second half, Louisville played really well. And that just goes to show how good Iowa was. But yeah, like the supporting cast stepped up big. But I get it because when the defense is so focused on Caitlin Clark, you are getting like these wide open shots. And yeah, credit Iowa. I mean, they were amazing last night. And yeah, I mean, it was an awesome game. I think for me, that was the most exciting game I've watched all March, just because that performance was so good. And I genuinely, like, obviously, like, I'm not saying Caitlin Clark could go do that against the men, but I think that was by far the best individual performance. I mean, some of those shots she was pulling while, like, double teamed from three looked like you were watching Steph Curry. Like, those shots, like, it was unreal. She could do it on the run, basically, step back. I mean, everything. It was a lights out performance. On the other end, Haley Van Lith, 27 points. As you guys know, Louisville's my team. So I was bummed. Adam, you made a good point about her talking too much, and I thought about it, and you are absolutely right. It's one of those things, I will say, though, where if you're rooting for her, you love it. But if you're rooting against or even neutral, I'm like, okay, I can see how like that would be very annoying. So I do apologize because I know I was like very like defensive, but I think that was me being a little biased. But I think that's part of what like makes her fun to watch is she's kind of a heel in women's college basketball because she plays with a lot of swagger and she's like this smaller player with a lot of skill. But she'll be she'll play hard and she'll kind of get in your face. I know Caitlin Clark did the "You Can't See Me" tour. Like there was a lot of back and forth.
I didn't see that. So
they are friends, or at least they were friends before the game. They had like talked about like they were excited to play each other. But I don't know. Like weirdly, like I think you were right. Like I get it. Like her talking, but weirdly, I think that's actually really good for women's college basketball to have someone like that. And I do think that their class, those two, Beckers, Reese, I think they're really doing a lot for women's basketball. Like I think they bring a lot of. It's an exciting group. I think they're bringing a lot of eyes in, and I do think like a lot of things get blown out of proportion with like like the whole "You Can't See Me" because it's like or like just the trash talking because I do think, I mean, if it happened in men's, people don't bat an eye, but like we just don't see this as much, and I think it's awesome, and I think it's cool. I think it's been a really exciting. Like I've watched in depth. I think the women's tournament more than the men's this year. I've watched more men's games, but I think I've like maybe cared a little bit more about the women's just because like all my teams were out in the men's. But yeah, I think it's exciting for the sport, and I think to get some of these really good performances, I think like most basketball fans like know like at least the top 5 or 6 players' names, and like I think that's a good step in the right direction for women's basketball, and I think it's cool to see. I don't know, but we'll see what happens with this Ohio State Virginia Tech, but I think it should be a really good Final Four. I cannot wait for the Iowa South Carolina game because I was under the impression that there was I felt there was no way South Carolina could ever lose a game, but I do think if Iowa plays the way they played last night, there's a chance. So we'll see. Should be a really good. That game, I think, will be incredible. But I think whoever LSU ends up playing will probably be a really good game as well. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you guys want to touch on the women's? Otherwise, I do want to look ahead now to this week of Final Fours. All right, let's just talk
predictions or what?
Yeah, we'll talk quick. I guess we're on women's right now, like on that topic. So
finish it off.
Do we still feel South Carolina is going to win it all, or do we think? Yeah, okay. I think it'll be hard for Iowa to replicate that.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to say right now because Virginia Tech and Ohio State are playing, but still in the Elite Eight. But I don't think either team there would be able to beat South Carolina. South Carolina is unreal. But I think if anyone can, it is Iowa. But they have to shoot lights out again, and that's really tough. So I don't know. I think I might go with Virginia Tech out of the other side of the bracket, but they have to win 2 games, so hard to even say there. But I don't know. Anything you guys? Any other predictions you want to make?
No, I think it's South Carolina's to lose.
Yeah.
You think South Carolina wins both games by double digits? That's a good question. I think that might be the better thing. Tougher.
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Like you said, if anything, Iowa could keep them kind of close, maybe.
And it's the one interesting thing I will say will be, will South Carolina's defense be able to, like, obviously they'll be able to stop them a decent bit, but like, you got one of the best defenses ever in one of the best offenses, at least right now. Maybe not ever, but maybe ever, honestly. So it'll be good. But yeah, I mean, South Carolina also has like the best offense in the country, but their defense is historic. So yeah, it should be an interesting Final Four, even though South Carolina is dominant, just because there is a lot of star power in this Final Four. So, okay, let's talk the men's tournament. Do we think it's UConn's to lose? Probably. I know
I would say so right now.
Miami, but
yeah, I think so.
Okay, and then I think I got San Diego State on the other end, but
I do too.
I do as well.
All right, so we're in agreement. Although that's good for you, Adam, that we're in agreement, because as Beav pointed out in the conference tournament, whenever we all agree on something, it doesn't happen. So that might be good for you,
right, Justin?
What was that?
Tell Justin go Miami.
Oh. Kings, Justin, the U. Anyway, don't clip that picture of me.
No.
Out of my.
You never know, Miami. Miami can surprise UConn, I think.
That like we said, like they've done it now twice in a row. So
they've got
UConn looks good right now, though. I don't know if you're stopping them.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. You never know. I mean,
yeah, I've been wrong in all my predictions, so
gotta watch out for Wooga on Miami. He's a real baller at 6. What are you doing? 16-6-4, 6-7. They had Jordan Miller. He dropped 27 on 7-7, and he had 13 free throws, made them all. So, just saying, Miami can. Miami. Did you see the one? I think you need to take that rule off. If you shoot it from behind the backboard and it goes over, it doesn't count.
Yeah, I know.
This guy's Wi-Fi is worse than
Hello?
yours.
Can you guys at least hear me? I can't.
I'm not on Wi-Fi right now.
It keeps coming in and out. Can you at least hear me?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay. We can't see you, though. I thought you were just having another moment. Okay. NIT preview. I think it's going to be the Badgers over UAB at this point.
Fair enough. All right.
Even against Jelly Walker?
Yeah, I think
Jelly Walker still playing?
Yeah. He hasn't been great this tournament, to be honest, but
sounds like he's due.
Let's hope.
He hit 21, 7, and 7 the other night.
Okay, so that was better. Yeah, we'll see. He's got no idea. He's muted too, so he has no idea.
He doesn't have any.
Why am I full screen?
I thought it would be fun. You haven't been getting enough screen time today because your screen keeps going out, so I thought it would be fun to throw you in solo mode for a second. Anyway, let's hope the Badgers win. It's awesome to see them playing this late into March again. It's been a while, and good run for them anyway. So it's like those cams at like the games where it's like, like they keep going back to the one person and everyone cheers, That's Beav right
now. The boo and the yay guy. Or whatever. Yeah. Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh man. Anyway, all right. Let's finish up with news stories of the week. This has been a fun episode. Somehow, I didn't know if we'd make it through with my internet. Oh, we lost him. Man. Oh, we got Team Adam in the chat. Woo! Let's hear it for Team Adam. Oh man. Anyway, news stories of the week. This has been a great episode, guys. Even with all the
Justin's picking teams of favorite co-hosts over here.
I think we might have to start like a little hashtag war in our Instagram. By the way, our Instagram's going up and following. We're at 17 now.
Sweet.
Yeah. Shout out Phil Lowney for the follow yesterday.
Gotta be my Wi-Fi issue clip that got the people going.
It could be. Our clips are doing well. YouTube Reels are getting oh no. Oh, I thought my internet was going.
Oh, you're still here. We're on the home stretch. Just
I know. Okay, all right. News stories. You guys got some?
Can I screen share or no? Is that only a you thing? Look up UAM baseball.
If anything, copy your thing into the private chat and then.
Oh.
Yeah. Do that. Genius. Oh, well, that's cool. I didn't know we could do that. All right. Yeah. All right. I'm clicking this link. Hopefully you're not putting me to some like weird website. No, it's no. All right. I'm pulling it up now.
So this dude in this video got ejected and suspended. So the story is the ump show, essentially. I guess it's a college baseball thing, but like could also be like MLB, but we'll focus on college baseball. Just the ump show. Yeah. So this dude got ejected from this game for excessive celebration for this bad flip, and then suspended the next day as well. Where it's like college baseball is supposed to be about like the energy and everything, and
let's take a look because this wasn't even like a crazy bat flip either.
No,
because I did see this.
It's a very mellow bat flip at that. And the dude, he gets a 1-game suspension for this, and that's like terrible. You only get a certain number of games in college. I feel like it's just a little unfair to take that away from the kid, and it's supposed to be about energy, and just for something so minor, just kind of upset at the ump show.
100%. Yeah, that. I didn't realize. I didn't know what level that was, but that's.
I like finding the college baseball stories, so I found like another one. Like I like blowouts. So this Niagara Community College outscored They won a doubleheader by a total of 55-3. They won 37-3 in their first game, and then won 18-0 in the next game. Wow. Both of them were 5-inning run rules. So nice little 55-3 10 innings.
Yeah,
I love me some blowouts.
That's incredible. So like 10 innings too is like not much more than one game.
Not much more than a full game, yeah.
Yes. That's crazy. So good for them. Are they usually like, I don't know if you saw it, but are they like a good team in their conference?
I believe so. JUCO.
Oh, okay.
I'll look them up.
Okay.
Back to you.
Yeah. While he looks that up,
Niagara Community College. They're 15-1.
Okay. All right. So it's not like it was out of the blue completely, but I mean, still.
Correct.
Adam, you got anything?
Caleb Love entered the transfer portal today.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Interesting.
So what was supposed to be this dominant North Carolina team is now falling apart.
Yeah, interesting. And Baycott said he would return already, I believe.
He did, yeah.
That's kind of interesting that he didn't want to run it back with him.
Yeah, it is. So we'll see where he ends up. He'll probably get paid a lot by somebody.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the advantage for these players with the NIL. Like, if you don't...
You might as well. Might as well test it out and see what you can get. It's like free agency. You 100%. Might as well test the waters.
100%. Like, I think these athletes should get their money while they can. So, we'll keep an eye on that one because that could. Obviously, North Carolina wasn't great this year, but I mean, he could definitely go somewhere and make an impact. And yeah, all right. My story is I posted it on the Instagram, but the NIT tournament copied a small podcast with their caption. So I don't know. Did you guys see this? So basically,
Yeah, I saw it.
when it was all set, when we got to the 4 teams, it was I posted like the graphic of the bracket, and I word for word put on our story, and then there were 4 ... Yeah, 3 dots. And then the next day I'm going through Twitter and I see the NIT. This was after I noticed they viewed our story because they were like tagged in it. So they viewed our Instagram story, and then they captioned one of their tweets, and then there were 4 ... And now obviously we didn't invent that saying, but to do it character for character, after viewing, like, they probably didn't have a ton of stories that they viewed. And I think it happened subconsciously, but I think it got in the social media person of the NIT's head. And then they're like, oh, what should I caption this? And then there were 4. Because, like, usually the saying is, and then there were 2. Like, and then there were 4 is not, I feel like that wasn't like, anyway, I thought it was kind of cool. I think maybe we should get some sort of compensation from the NIT. Perhaps if the Badgers win, we should get like free merchandise saying NIT champions.
Or fly the boys to Vegas for 4 nights.
that would be something. I wouldn't complain about that.
They better get on it. It starts tomorrow.
Yeah, just give us a championship game. But anyway, no, I did think that was kind of cool, though, because I do think there is a very good chance that was the inspiration, probably subconsciously. Maybe not. Maybe they were going to say that, but it did happen after they viewed our story. So there is a very good chance that they'd gotten that in their head. Just saying. Because you don't see, and then there were 4 that often. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was cool. So, 17 followers on Instagram, but here we come. Like, we're getting the NIT is inspired by us. We're going to take credit for that, even if it's not true. But yeah, that's my college story of the week. Anything else? I mean, it should be a good weekend of basketball, or week.
Yep, should be.
I don't know, next week with the championship game on Monday, I don't know if we'll I don't know what your guys' availability is on other days, but we'll have to see. Or we could do it live during the game. We'll see. That might be like maybe the second half of it.
Mm-hmm.
We try to do like a live reaction. There's a good chance it'll be a blowout if UConn continues to dominate. So we'll see. We'll talk about it, but yeah, it should be fun. So good stuff. You guys got anything else?
Nope.
We made it through. Adam, you having a little smoke break there? Kidding. Is that like a human?
There's no other explanation.
Yeah, definitely not. Oh, is that a candle? Oh, okay.
I can't dump it.
Crystal meth?
Though, but...
It's got to be math.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I think it was another solid episode. I think jeez.
That's a threat.
It is.
These have been fun. So thank you guys. Justin, thank you for being a fun live chatter with us.
See you, Justin.
We'll have you on in a couple weeks for NIL Draft 2. I think we're going to change up the NIL draft rules slightly. Well, not rules, but we'll say the criteria. I was thinking maybe we can talk about this, but instead of just basing it on how much they bring in, we'll say, because you can just look that up, we'll say like maybe we do where you draft and then make like a pitch as to why you took them in like a campaign almost, as to like you can like pick a company that they would be representing and then like say like why you chose, like, you know, like a little campaign. So like just to like mix it up, and that way we can't just like look up who's the top NIL earner. That way it's like a little opinion based. So then there's something to like discuss rather than just go off of a list. Anyway, but we got a couple weeks till that. In the meantime, we've got a good week and weekend of hoops. And then we've got hockey the following week, which will probably be a decent bit of it. I think it'll be a shorter episode next week because there's less games, obviously, to talk about. But yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Justin. And we should have some more clips with maybe some random things.
We'll see.
But
shout out to the Nebraska track and field team, Jess Gardner, Ashley McElmurray. I am going to need a wedding date in the spring of 2025. Just throwing it out there.
Okay. Is track and field, that's probably starting, right? Because I know
we're in the transition period between indoor and outdoor.
Okay, cool. You'll have to let us know when that starts, because I do want to do more episodes outside of March and college basketball season. Maybe not every week, but just so we don't get in like that longer drought. That way we can do college football because we wanted to, and then it just never happened. But maybe do it every week or two, or not every week or two, every 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe do an episode. We'll see. And obviously that'll be schedule dependent. And yeah. Anyway, but it would be nice to get these updates on the track and field, at least for your Nebraska.
Of course. Oh, yes.
Great.
My favorite. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for that shout out. And thank you guys. And if anyone who isn't in the live chat ends up watching this, thanks for watching. Peace.